The phone camera was already recording when Dakota Mitchell pressed his body against the new girl's locker, trapping her between his arms. "Come on, Willow." Just one kiss for the wrestling team captain. His breath smelled like energy drinks and arrogance. Behind him, 3 teammates laughed, their Letterman jackets forming a wall of red and gold. Willow Hayes kept her eyes down, clutching her biology textbook like armor, her pale cheeks burning crimson. What these boys didn't know was that the quiet girl they'd chosen as their latest victim had spent 3 years documenting harassment cases at her previous school, and she was about to turn their cruel game into the biggest scandal Northwood High had ever seen. Before we dive into Willow's story, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you. Your comments on these videos mean the world. So many of you have shared your own experiences and how these stories have helped you feel less alone. If this story resonates with you, please hit that like button and share your thoughts below. And if you want to help these stories reach more people who need to hear them, consider hitting the thanks button beneath this video. Every contribution, no matter how small, helps me create more content that sheds light on important issues and inspires change. Your support literally makes these stories possible, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you who's part of this community. Now, let's see how one brave girl brought down an entire system of corruption. The morning had started like any other Tuesday at 7:45 a.m. Willow had been at Northwood High for exactly 11 days. 11 days of eating lunch alone in the library. 11 days of keeping her head down in hallways. 11 days of being invisible, which was exactly how she liked it. Until yesterday, when everything changed. "Hey, new girl!" Dakota's voice had boomed across the cafeteria. Every head turned. The wrestling team table the Kingdom of Northwood High had acknowledged her existence. Willow had frozen, tray in hand, as Dakota stood up, all 6 feet 2 inches of him, and smiled. Not a kind smile, the kind of smile a cat gives a mouse. "Why don't you sit with us?" He gestured to an empty seat. His teammates Grayson, Hunter, and Colton had snickered. The entire cafeteria held its breath. Nobody said no to Dakota Mitchell. His father owned half the commercial real estate in town. His mother sat on the school board. His wrestling trophies filled an entire case in the main hallway. Willow had clutched her tray tighter. "No thank you," the cafeteria gasped. Dakota's smile flickered. "What did you say?" "I said no thank you." Her voice was quiet but steady. She turned and walked to her usual spot by the window. Alone. That's when the game began. Now, 24 hours later, Dakota had her cornered by her locker. His cologne was suffocating, something expensive that probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. His teammates formed a semicircle, blocking any escape route. Other students hurried past, eyes averted. Nobody helped. Nobody ever helped. "I'm trying to be nice here," Dakota said, his voice low and dangerous. "Do you know how many girls would kill to have my attention?" Willow's fingers found the small device in her pocket. The recording app was already running. She'd activated it the moment she saw them approaching. 3 years of evidence gathering had taught her to always be prepared. "Please move," she whispered. "Or what?" Grayson laughed from behind Dakota. "You'll tell on us? Nobody's going to believe the weird new girl over the wrestling team." Hunter pulled out his phone. "This is hilarious. She actually thinks she has a choice." The camera flash went off. Another flash. They were documenting their cruelty like a trophy. "Look at me when I'm talking to you," Dakota commanded. He grabbed her chin, forcing her face up. His touch was rough, possessive. Willow's stomach churned. His friends laughed louder. "Bet she's never been kissed," Colton said. "Dakota's doing charity work. Community service." Hunter added, "Helping the less fortunate." Dakota leaned closer. "One kiss, and we'll leave you alone. Promise." His hand moved from her chin to her cheek, a mockery of tenderness. "Unless you want more. I'm very generous." That's when Willow smiled, just a tiny upturn of her lips. Dakota misread it as surrender. He leaned in for the kiss. "Stop." The voice cut through the hallway like a blade. Everyone turned. Miss Reeves, the AP chemistry teacher, stood 10 feet away, her face carved from stone. She was holding her phone, and it was pointed directly at them. Office. Now, all of you. Dakota straightened, his confidence intact. We were just talking. Miss Reeves, right? Willow? He looked down at her, eyes full of warning. Willow said nothing. I said office. Now, Miss Reeves' voice could have frozen fire. The boys exchanged glances. This was nothing new for them. A slap on the wrist. Maybe detention. Dakota's parents would smooth it over like they always did. They sauntered toward the office, laughing and shoving each other. Miss Reeves approached Willow. Are you okay? Willow nodded, still clutching her textbook. No. You're not Miss Reeves' voice softened. Come with me. They walked to the chemistry lab in silence. Miss Reeves locked the door behind them and gestured to a stool. Willow sat down, her whole body shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. This isn't the first time. Is it, Miss? Reeves asked. Willow shook her head. How long? Started yesterday. After I said no to sitting with them at lunch. Miss Reeves' jaw tightened. Have you told anyone? Who would I tell? Willow's voice cracked. I'm nobody here. They're everything. You're not nobody. Miss Reeves pulled up a stool across from her. I saw what happened. I recorded it. But Willow, I need you to know something. This school, it protects certain students. The Mitchells donate millions. The wrestling team brings in state championships. Fighting them won't be easy. I know about fighting, Willow said quietly. She reached into her pocket and pulled out her phone. I've been recording too. Miss Reeves' eyes widened. Smart girl. My last school. Willow's voice trailed off. There was a teacher, Mr. Shen. He did things, said things, to lots of girls. Nobody believed us until I started recording. It took 57 audio files and 3 months, but he's in prison now. You did that? Me and 12 other girls. But I gathered the evidence. Willow looked up, and for the first time, Miss Reeves saw steel in those quiet gray eyes. I'm very good at gathering evidence. Show me what you have. Willow pulled up the files. Yesterday's cafeteria encounter, this morning's hallway intimidation, Grayson following her to the library, making kissing sounds, Hunter taking pictures of her during English class with obscene captions, Colton accidentally brushing against her in the hallway, whispering what he wanted to do to her. This is sexual harassment. Miss Reeves said, clear cut. It's more than that. Willow scrolled to another folder. Look at this. Screenshots filled the screen. A private group chat called The Hunt. Dozens of messages between Dakota, Grayson, Hunter, and Colton. But there were other names too. Other boys from the wrestling team, from the football team, from the lacrosse team. They have a point system, Willow explained. Different girls are worth different points. Kissing is 10 points. Getting a girl to send pictures is 50. Getting them to do other things is 100. New girls are worth double. Shy girls are worth triple. I'm both. So, my God. Miss Reeves looked sick. There's more. Willow scrolled down. They have a leaderboard. Rankings. And look at this, they take pictures as proof. Without consent? There are 17 girls on this list, just from this semester. How did you get these? Hunter left his phone unlocked in the library yesterday. I only had 45 seconds, but I work fast. Miss Reeves stared at the screen. This is evidence of systematic sexual harassment, maybe assault. This needs to go to the police. The police? Willow laughed bitterly. Dakota's uncle is the sheriff. His cousin is a deputy. You think they'll do anything? Then the school board, where his mother sits, where his father donates $2 million every year. Willow shook her head. No, I learned something at my last school. You don't go to the authorities they control. You go above them. You go public. Willow, that's dangerous. These families have power, lawyers. They'll come after you. Let them. Willow's voice was steady now. I have backups of everything. Cloud storage. Multiple accounts. I sent copies to my cousin in California, just in case. And I have this. She pulled up another file. A video. The timestamp showed 3 days ago. The location was the wrestling team locker room. Dakota's voice was clear. Remember, boys, the shy ones are easy. They're desperate for attention. You just have to pretend you like them. Give them hope. Then when they trust you, bam, they'll do anything. And if they say no, well, nobody believes the weird girl over us. We're Northwood royalty. The other boys laughed. Someone mentioned Willow by name. They discussed strategies. Who would approach her first? What lines to use? How to isolate her? It was predatory, calculated, evil. How? Miss? Reeves whispered. Colton's little brother is in my PE class. He left his gym bag open. Colton's phone was in the side pocket, unlocked. He really should use better passwords than 1234. Despite everything, Miss, Reeves almost smiled. You're not as shy as you seem. Shy doesn't mean weak. Willow closed her phone. It means people underestimate you. They talk around you like you're not there. They reveal things. They get careless. What's your plan? First, I need more evidence, more recordings, more victims willing to speak up. Then, the chemistry lab door rattled. Someone was trying to get in. Miss, Reeves and Willow froze. I know you're in there, Dakota's voice. Muffled but angry. Open up. More rattling. Then Grayson. Dude! Someone's coming. Footsteps running away. Silence. Miss. Reeves let out a breath. How did they know you were here? Willow checked her phone. A notification from an unknown number. A picture of her entering the chemistry lab. The message, stop talking or things get worse. They're watching. Willow said. Her hands weren't shaking anymore. If anything, she looked calmer. Good. Good? They're scared. Scared people make mistakes. She stood up. I should go. Thank you for trying to help. Willow. Wait. Let me walk you to your next class. No. They need to think I'm alone. Vulnerable. She headed for the door. Then paused. Miss. Reeves, whatever happens next, whatever you hear about me, remember that I have evidence of everything. Everything. The hallway was empty when Willow emerged. She walked to her locker, opened it, and found a note taped inside. Meet us in the old gym after school, or the whole school sees this. A printed photo was attached. Willow changing in the girls' locker room, taken from above. The angle suggested someone had climbed onto the lockers with a camera. She studied the photo clinically, the timestamp, the angle, the quality. Hunter's phone. Definitely. He always bragged about his new iPhone camera. She folded the note carefully and placed it in an evidence bag she kept in her backpack. Then she took out her own phone and typed a message. Phase 2 initiated. They took the bait. The response came immediately. Recording equipment in place. Backup standing by. Be careful. Willow smiled. They had no idea who they were messing with. The rest of the day passed in a blur of whispers and stares. Word had spread about the hallway incident. Girls looked at her with a mixture of pity and relief. It wasn't them. Boys looked at her like prey. Teachers pretended not to notice. In English class, Hunter sat directly behind her. He spent the entire period whispering, "Nice picture. Wasn't it? I've got more. Different angles. Want to see?" Willow took notes on Shakespeare. Her handwriting perfectly steady. You know what we could do with those pictures? Post them everywhere. Tag your parents, your old school, every college you apply to. She turned the page in her notebook. Or you could be smart. Meet us after school. Apologize. Maybe do a little more than apologize. Dakota really likes you. You know, he could make your life here amazing. Or he could destroy it. Your choice. The bell rang. Willow packed up slowly, waiting until Hunter left. Then she pulled out her phone. The entire whispered monologue was perfectly recorded. She labeled the file and uploaded it to her secure cloud. Lunchtime. The cafeteria buzzed with energy. Willow headed for her usual spot, but a hand grabbed her arm. Gentle this time. She turned to see Madison Webb, captain of the debate team. "Sit with us," Madison said. It wasn't a question. Willow found herself at a table of girls. Smart girls, the ones who ran student government, the school newspaper, the honor society. Girls who usually stayed out of the social hierarchy battles. "We know what's happening," Madison said quietly. "They did it to my friend Skylar last year. She transferred schools. They did it to Emma the year before. She tried to kill herself. Why didn't anyone stop them? With what proof? They're careful. They delete everything. They make it he said, she said. And they always win." Madison leaned forward. "But you're different. We've heard things. About your old school. About what you did? How do you know about that? My cousin goes to Lincoln High. She said some girl got a teacher arrested. A girl who was really good with technology and evidence." Madison studied her. "That was you, wasn't it?" Willow said nothing. "We want to help." Another girl, Harper, said, "Whatever you're planning, we want in. It's dangerous." Willow warned, "They'll come after you too. They already have." A third girl, Brooklyn, said quietly, "I'm worth 25 points on their list. Madison's worth 30. Harper's worth 40 because she turned Dakota down freshman year. You know about the list? We've known for months. We just couldn't prove it existed." Madison's eyes were fierce. "But you can't you? You have evidence." Willow made a decision. "After school. The old gym. They want me to meet them there. That's isolated. No cameras. No witnesses." Harper looked worried. "I know." Willow smiled. "It's perfect. 3:45 p.m. The old gym sat at the edge of campus. Scheduled for demolition next summer. Nobody used it anymore. The perfect place for privacy. For secrets. For things that shouldn't happen." Willow stood outside the rusted doors, her phone recording in her pocket. But that wasn't her only precaution. Madison was positioned at the north entrance with her phone, Harper at the south, Brooklyn on the roof with a telephoto Lensher photographer. Parents had expensive equipment, and Miss Reeves, who had coincidentally decided to grade papers in her car within sprinting distance. The doors creaked open. Dakota emerged, flanked by his crew. But there were more of them now. 7 boys total. All athletes. All predators. "Smart girl," Dakota said. "I knew you'd come." "I don't want trouble," Willow said, letting her voice shake. "Neither do we." He stepped closer. "We just want to have some fun. You do know how to have fun, right? Please, just delete the pictures." "Oh, we'll delete them. After." Grayson laughed. "Don't worry. We'll be gentle, mostly." They formed a circle around her. The old gym loomed behind them, dark and waiting. Willow backed up slowly, letting them herd her toward the entrance. "You know what I like about shy girls?" Dakota said conversationally. "They're grateful. Appreciative. They understand that someone like me is doing them a favor. A big favor." Hunter added, "Still filming. This is going to be legendary." They were inside the gym now. Dusty light filtered through broken windows. Old wrestling mats were piled in the corner. The boys spread out, blocking all exits. "Last chance," Dakota said. "Easy way or hard way?" Willow reached into her pocket. The boys tensed, expecting pepper spray or a weapon. Instead, she pulled out a small device and clicked a button. "What's that supposed to be?" Colton laughed. "A signal," Willow said. The lights flicked on. Not the old gym lights, those had been dead for years. New lights. Bright LED panels that had been installed that morning by Brooklyn's father, who owned an electrical company and owed Miss Reeves a favor. The boys squinted in the sudden brightness. That's when they saw the cameras. 6 of them, professional grade, recording everything. "What the hell?" Dakota spun around. "Smile," Willow said. "You're live." "Live?" Hunter's face went white. Willow held up her phone. The screen showed a streaming platform, viewer count, 300 and climbing. The title of the stream, Northwood High's Dirty Secret Live Evidence of Sexual Harassment Ring. You're bluffing, Dakota said, but his voice cracked. Check your phones, Willow suggested. They did. Social media was exploding. The stream link was everywhere. The student body group chat, the parent Facebook page, the local news tip line. Screenshots of their hunt chat were being shared with the video link, their point system, their target list, everything. You little Dakota lunged for her. I wouldn't. Madison's voice echoed through the gym. She stood in the doorway with Harper and Brooklyn. All three were recording. Assault on a live stream? That's evidence even your daddy can't make disappear. More footsteps. Miss. Reeves entered with Principal Morrison and 2 school security officers. Behind them, unbelievably, was a news van. Brooklyn's older sister was a reporter for Channel 7. She'd been very interested in a story about systematic harassment at an elite public school. "Shut it down!" Dakota screamed at Willow. "Shut it down now." "I can't," Willow said calmly. "It's not on my channel. See? I sent the stream link to every girl on your list. They're the ones broadcasting 17 different streams from 17 different accounts. Even if you stop one, this is illegal," Grayson shouted. "Recording without consent. Colorado is a one-party consent state." Madison said, "We checked. Also, you've been recording girls without their consent for months. So maybe shut up about legality." The viewer count hit 2,000. Comments poured in. Parents' names. Threats of lawsuits. Demands for action. The school's phones started ringing, then kept ringing. Principal Morrison stepped forward. "All of you. My office. Now." "We didn't do anything," Hunter protested. "That's not what the evidence suggests," the principal said. His phone was buzzing non-stop. "And considering this is now a public relations nightmare that will probably cost me my job, I'm very motivated to handle this properly. Officers, please escort these young men to my office." The boys were led away, Dakota still screaming threats about lawyers and lawsuits. As he passed Willow, he hissed, "This isn't over." "Yes," she said quietly. "It is." The gym emptied until only Willow and her allies remained. Madison hugged her. "That was incredible." "It's not done," Willow said. "This was just the opening move. They'll retaliate. Their families will close ranks. We need to be ready." "What's the plan?" Harper asked. Willow looked at her phone. The stream had been saved, downloaded thousands of times. News outlets were already calling, but buried in her messages was one that made her smile. "From the district attorney's office, we'd like to discuss your evidence. Please contact us immediately." "Now we go to Phase 3, Willow said. "Which is?" Brooklyn asked. Before Willow could answer, her phone rang. "Unknown number." She answered on speaker. "You think you're clever?" The voice was female. Cold. Authoritative. "I'm Patricia Mitchell, Dakota's mother. I'm also the head of the school board. What you've done today is defamation, harassment, cyberbullying. My lawyers will destroy you." "Mrs. Mitchell," Willow said calmly, "I'd be very careful about making threats. You're on speaker. And we're still recording." "You little A." Pause. Muffled conversation. Then, "What do you want? Money? An apology? Name your price. I want a full investigation. I want every boy involved expelled. I want a new harassment policy. I want mandatory training for all students. And I want you to resign from the school board. You're insane if you think." "Check your email," Willow interrupted. "I just sent you something." Silence. Then a sharp intake of breath. "That's right," Willow continued. "Financial records showing you've been embezzling from the wrestling team fundraisers. $200,000 over 3 years. I found them on Dakota's phone. He had photos of the documents. Guess he wanted insurance against his own mother." "You're lying." "The FBI doesn't think so. They were very interested when I forwarded them the evidence an hour ago." The line went dead. Madison stared at her. "You've been planning this for days?" "Since the moment they first approached me," Willow admitted. My therapist says I have trust issues from what happened at my last school. She's probably right. But those trust issues make me very good at protecting myself. What happens now? Harper asked. Willow's phone buzzed. Another unknown number. This time she didn't answer. Now we wait, she said, and we watch them fall. But as they left the old gym, Willow noticed something that made her blood run cold. Written on her car windshield in red lipstick. You just declared war. Hope you're ready for what comes next. She took a photo of the threat, adding it to her evidence folder. Then she carefully wiped the windshield clean, hot in her car, and drove home. Tomorrow would bring new battles, new threats, new challenges. But tonight, 17 girls in Northwood would sleep a little better, knowing someone had finally fought back and won the first round. As she pulled into her driveway, Willow's phone rang one more time. This number she recognized, her lawyer from the previous case. Willow, I just saw the news. Are you okay? I'm fine. Miss Shen, but I think I'm going to need your help again. Already on it. I'll be there first thing in the morning. And Willow, you did the right thing. I know, Willow said. But Miss Chen, this time is different. Bigger. They have more money. More power, more to lose. Then we better make sure we have more evidence. Get some rest. Tomorrow, we go to war. Willow ended the call and sat in her car for a moment. Through her living room window, she could see her parents watching the news. Her story was already the lead. Her phone had hundreds of messages from supporters, reporters, and other victims wanting to share their stories. But one message stood out from an unknown number. But somehow she knew exactly who it was. This isn't over. You took everything from me. My reputation, my future, my family. I'm going to return the favor. You won't see me coming, but I'll destroy everything you love. Starting with those girls who helped you today. Sweet dreams. Willow. Willow screenshotted the threat and added it to her evidence. Then she typed a response. Bring it on. Because what Dakota Mitchell didn't understand was that Willow Hayes had already lost everything once. She'd been broken, shattered, reduced to nothing by a predator with power, but she'd rebuilt herself into something harder, smarter, dangerous. And this time, she wasn't fighting alone. The war for Northwood High had officially begun. The attack came at 6:17 a.m. While the world was still dark, Madison Webb woke to the sound of shattering glass. Her bedroom window exploded inward, a brick landing on her carpet with a note attached. Snitch. By the time her parents called 911, the vandals were gone. But the message was clear. The war had begun. Willow got the call at 6:32 a.m. Madison's voice was steady, but Willow could hear her mother crying in the background. They hit Harper and Brooklyn too. Harper's car tires were slashed. Brooklyn's family restaurant had graffiti. Horrible things. Sexual stuff. I'm so sorry, Willow said, already getting dressed. This is my fault. No. Madison's voice turned fierce. This is their fault, and it's evidence. I photographed everything before the cops arrived. Brooklyn's dad has security footage. Harper's neighbor has a Ring doorbell camera. Meet me at school in an hour. Bring everything. Willow. They're saying, we can't come to school today. For our safety, that's what they want. To isolate us. To scare us. Willow grabbed her backpack. Heavy with printed evidence. We show up. We show them we're not afraid. Are you not afraid? Willow paused. I'm terrified. But I'm also angry. And anger beats fear every time. By 7:45 a.m., Northwood High looked like a war zone. News vans lined the street. Parents clustered in angry groups. Police cars sat in the parking lot, and standing at the main entrance, surrounded by lawyers and supporters, was Patricia Mitchell. This witch hunt ends today, she announced to the cameras. My son has been falsely accused by a disturbed young woman with a history of making wild allegations. We have evidence that Willow Hayes fabricated everything for attention. Willow parked and walked past the circus, head high. Reporters shouted questions. She ignored them all until one voice cut through. Willow, They're saying you doctored the evidence. Any response? She stopped, turned, looked directly into the Channel 7 camera. I have 43 hours of audio recordings, 600 screenshots, testimony from 23 victims, financial records showing embezzlement. If they want to claim it's fake, they can explain that to the FBI agents who are reviewing everything right now. You little liar! Patricia Mitchell pushed through the crowd. You destroyed my family with your sick fantasies. Mrs. Mitchell, Willow said calmly, did you know your son has been recording you too? All those times you told him to man up when he cried? When you paid off the family of the girl he assaulted sophomore year? He recorded everything he learned from the best. Apparently, Patricia's face went white. You're lying. Check your email. I sent you a sample. 1 minute of audio. If you keep attacking me publicly, I release all 3 hours. The crowd pressed closer. Cameras captured everything. Patricia Mitchell, the woman who controlled half the town, stood frozen. Then she turned and walked away. Her lawyers scrambling to follow. Inside school, the atmosphere was electric. Students whispered in clusters. Teachers looked exhausted. Principal Morrison had aged 10 years overnight. And waiting by Willow's locker were Madison, Harper, and Brooklyn, surrounded by a protective circle of debate team members, newspaper staff, and honor society students. You came, Willow said. We're not letting them win. Harper said. Her eyes were red-rimmed but determined. Also, we have something for you. She handed Willow a folder. Inside were printed emails, dozens of them, all from a server called The Hunt, 2019. How did you? My boyfriend's in computer science. Brooklyn explained. Turns out, the wrestling team was using the school server to host their old point system archives, going back 5 years. Hundreds of victims. Some are in college now. Some graduated, but it's all there. Names, photos, points awarded, detailed descriptions of assaults. Willow flipped through the pages, her stomach churning. This is evidence of systematic predation. For years. How did nobody know? People knew, Madison said quietly. They just didn't have proof. Or they were too scared. Or they were paid off. Look at this. She pointed to a column in the spreadsheet. Settlement amounts. $50,000 here. $75,000 there. Hush money paid to keep victims quiet. We need to get this to my lawyer immediately. Willow said, already done. Harper said, emailed it 20 minutes ago. Also sent copies to the district attorney, the school board members who aren't named Mitchell, and 3 different news outlets. The nuclear option. Willow breathed. They started it. Brooklyn said, when they came after our families, first period, AP History. Willow walked in to find Dakota Mitchell already seated. Flanked by his remaining loyal friends, half the wrestling team had distanced themselves after the live stream, but Dakota still had support. Money bought loyalty. Well, Dakota said loudly. The psycho returns. How's your friend's window? Willow sat down without responding. Other students watched nervously. The teacher, Mr. Harrison, cleared his throat. Let's focus on the lesson. Please. Hard to focus. Dakota continued. When there's a pathological liar in the room, did you know she was expelled from her last school for making false accusations? That's not true, Willow said quietly. No? I have the records right here. He pulled out his phone, expelled for conduct detrimental to the school environment. That's what happens when you lie about teachers touching you. I wasn't expelled. I transferred. After testifying in court, after Mr. Chen was convicted, after 12 girls came forward because of evidence I collected, Willow turned to face him. But you already knew that. You're just hoping everyone else doesn't. Prove it. Dakota smirked. Willow pulled out her phone. 2 taps. A news article appeared on the smartboard. Mr. Harrison had forgotten to lock his computer. The headline, local teacher sentenced to 20 years after students' recordings expose years of abuse. The article included her photo, younger, scared, but unmistakably Willow, "That's you," someone whispered. "That's me," Willow confirmed. "And that's why I knew what to do when it started happening here. Because predators follow patterns, and you, Dakota, are just another predator." Dakota's face turned purple. He started to stand. "Mr." Harrison stepped between them. "Dakota, sit down. Now. She's destroying my life with lies." "Then Zume," Willow said. "Oh wait, you can't. Because truth is an absolute defense against defamation, and everything I've said is true. You're dead." Dakota hissed. "You hear me? Dead? Dakota Mitchell. You're threatening a student in front of 23 witnesses." "Mister," Harrison said, "that's suspension. Get out. My mother will have your job. Your mother is currently being questioned by federal agents about embezzlement," Harper said from across the room. "I don't think she's taking calls." Dakota stormed out, slamming the door. The class sat in stunned silence. Then, slowly, someone started clapping. Then another. Soon half the class was applauding. "Don't," Willow said. "This isn't over." She was right. By lunch, the school was in chaos. 3 more wrestling team members had been pulled from class by police. The coach had been placed on administrative leave after emails surfaced showing he knew about the hunt and did nothing. Parents were pulling their kids out of school. The board called an emergency meeting. Willow sat with her growing group of allies, comparing notes. Her phone buzzed constantly: reporters, lawyers, supporters, threats. She ignored them all except one. Her lawyer. "Miss Shen, Willow, I need you to come to my office immediately. Bring your parents." "What's wrong?" "The Mitchells have filed charges: criminal harassment, defamation, cyberstalking, and conspiracy. They're seeking a restraining order and $5 million in damages." Willow's blood chilled. "Can they do that?" "They can try. Get here now." As Willow gathered her things, Madison grabbed her arm. "We're coming with you." "You don't have to." "Yes, we do." Harper stood up. "They want to isolate you, make you feel alone." "That's not happening." An hour later, Willow sat in a conference room surrounded by allies. Her parents flanked her, faces grim. Miss Chen spread documents across the table. Madison, Harper, Brooklyn and their parents filled the remaining seats. Even Miss Reeves had come. "Here's the situation." Miss Chen began. "The Mitchells have hired Cromwell and Associates, biggest firm in the state. They're claiming Willow orchestrated a conspiracy to destroy their son using fabricated evidence. That's insane." Willow's mother said, "It's a tactic. Bury us in legal fees. Make fighting back too expensive." Miss Chen pulled up a document. "But we have an advantage. The FBI is very interested in the financial crimes, and the district attorney wants to prosecute the sexual harassment cases. They're offering Willow whistleblower protection." "What does that mean?" Willow's father asked. "It means if Willow cooperates fully with law enforcement, she gets immunity from civil lawsuits related to her evidence gathering. The Mitchells can't touch her." "There's a catch," Willow said. "It wasn't a question. You'd have to testify in open court against all of them, relive everything. And they'll try to destroy your credibility. I've done it before. This is different. The Mitchells have resources. They'll dig into everything. Your mental health history, your social media, every mistake you've ever made. Let them dig." Willow pulled out a thick folder. "Because while they're looking at me, nobody's looking at this." She spread papers across the table. Financial records, wire transfers, offshore accounts. "Where did you get these, miss?" Chen breathed. "Dakota's computer." He gave Grayson his password to submit a history paper. Grayson gave it to Hunter to download games. Hunter gave it to Colton for fantasy football. And Colton, Willow smiled grimly. Colton wrote it on a sticky note and left it on his desk during study hall. This shows the Mitchells have been bribing officials for years. The sheriff, 2 judges, 3 school board members, the former principal, all to cover up Dakota's behavior and their financial crimes. This is a federal case. Miss, Chen said. RICO charges. Racketeering. I know. Willow looked around the table. But if I release this, it's not just the Mitchells who fall. Half the town power structure goes with them. Are you all ready for that? The parents exchanged glances. Madison's mother, a pediatrician, spoke first. My daughter was threatened because she stood up to bullies. If bringing down corrupt officials is what it takes to keep her safe, then yes, agreed. Harper's father said. He was a contractor, dependent on city permits. Some things matter more than money. One by one. They all nodded. Even Miss Reeves. I've been teaching here for 15 years. Watching them protect predators, silence victims. I'm done being complicit. Then we fight. Miss, Chen said. All of us. Together. The news broke at 4:15 p.m. Channel 7 led with the exclusive. Northwood scandal expands. FBI. Investigates bribery. Ring connected to student harassment. Cover up. Within hours, Northwood High became ground zero for a national story. Cable news descended. Social media exploded. Number Justice for Northwood trended worldwide. The Mitchell family fortress began to crumble, but Dakota wasn't done. That night, Willow was studying when her phone rang. Unknown number. She let it go to voicemail. The message was brief. Check your email. You have 1 hour to recant everything, or this goes viral. D. The email contained a video. Willow steeled herself and clicked play. It was her, at her old school, in the counselor's office, sobbing, shaking, describing what Mr. Chen had done. The video was edited to make her look unstable, hysterical, crazy. Audio clips spliced together to change her words. Nobody will believe me, her voice said in the video. But the original quote had been, I was afraid nobody would believe me. They'd cut the context. I made it all up. Her voice continued. But the full sentence had been, he said everyone would think I made it all up. The editing was sophisticated, believable, damaging. Willow's hands shook. This video could destroy her credibility, make her look like a serial false accuser. It was exactly what the Mitchells needed to discredit her testimony. She had 53 minutes to decide. Willow called Miss Chen, then Madison, then someone unexpected, the reporter from Channel 7. Brooklyn's sister, I need your help. Willow said, I need to go live. Now. Willow. That's risky. I know, but I'm done letting them control the narrative. Can you do it? Give me 20 minutes. 19 minutes later, Willow sat in her living room. Cameras rolling. Live viewers, 12,000 and climbing. My name is Willow Hayes. She began. 2 years ago, I was sexually assaulted by a teacher. I reported it. I was called a liar. A attention seeker. Mentally unstable. But I had recordings. Evidence. He was convicted. And now, because I'm exposing another predator ring, they're trying to use my trauma against me. She held up her phone. Dakota Mitchell just sent me an edited video of my counseling sessions. Sessions that were supposed to be confidential. He's threatening to release it unless I recant. So I'm going to show you what really happened. The unedited truth. She played the original recordings. Her RAV. Honest testimony. The counselor's supportive responses. The context Dakota had stripped away. This is what survivors face. Willow continued. Our worst moments weaponized against us. Our trauma edited into ammunition. But I'm not ashamed of breaking down. I'm not ashamed of needing help. I'm not ashamed of surviving. The viewer count hit 50,000. Dakota Mitchell thinks he can silence me with shame. But shame only works if you let it. So here's everything. My psychiatric evaluations after the assault. My therapy notes. My medication history. All of it. Because I'd rather be honest about my struggles than let another predator win. She uploaded file after file. Comments poured in. Survivors sharing their stories. Parents expressing outrage. Students from schools across the country reporting similar games and point systems. To anyone watching who's been through this, Willow said, looking directly into the camera. You're not crazy. You're not alone. And you're not responsible for what they did to you. Keep fighting. Keep speaking. Keep surviving. The stream ended. Willow's phone immediately rang. Dakota. You stupid bitch! You just admitted you're mentally unstable. No, Willow said calmly. I admitted I needed help after trauma. Like millions of people, the only unstable one here is you, threatening victims to protect your crimes. This isn't over! Yes, it is, because right now, the FBI is serving warrants. Your house, your father's office, your mother's computer. They were very interested in those offshore accounts I found. Silence. Then, you're lying. Through her window, Willow could see lights, police cars streaming through the wealthy part of town. Check your security cameras. The line went dead. The next morning, Northwood woke to seismic news. Patricia Mitchell, arrested. Dakota's father, in federal custody. Sheriff Williams, suspended pending investigation. 3 judges, 2 city councilmen, and 5 school officials, all under investigation. Dakota Mitchell was arrested at 7:22 a.m., charged with criminal harassment, stalking, conspiracy, and 37 counts of sexual assault. Based on evidence from the Hunt archives, he was let out in handcuffs as news cameras rolled, still screaming about lawyers and lies. Grayson, Hunter, and Colton were arrested an hour later. By noon, 23 members of various sports teams were in custody or negotiating plea deals. Willow sat in Principal Morrison's office. The principal himself had resigned, watching the news with her allies. Madison held her hand. Harper paced nervously. Brooklyn documented everything. You did it, Madison said. You actually did it. We did it, Willow corrected. All of us. Miss? Reeves entered with a smile. The superintendent just called. They're implementing every reform we demanded. New harassment policies, mandatory training, independent oversight, and they want you all on the advisory committee. What about the victims? Harper asked. The ones from years past? The district is setting up a fund. Miss? Reeves said. Counseling, legal support, whatever they need. Funded by assets seized from the bribery investigation, Willow's phone buzzed. An unknown number. But this time she smiled when she saw it. A message from Emma, the girl who'd attempted suicide the year before, watching the news. Thank you. You gave me hope again. Then another from Skylar, who'd transferred, coming back to Northwood, ready to fight for change. Message after message from survivors, from supporters, from students at other schools starting their own investigations into similar games. It's spreading, Brooklyn said, watching her phone. Schools across the country, kids are exposing their own Dakotas. Good, Willow said. Let it spread. That afternoon, Willow walked through Northwood's halls. Students nodded respectfully. Some thanked her quietly. Others just smiled. The fear that had gripped the school for years was lifting. But in the parking lot, one more confrontation waited. A woman in designer clothes, face streaked with tears. Patricia Mitchell, out on bail. You destroyed my family, she said. No, Willow replied. You did that every time you covered for him, every time you paid someone off, every time you chose reputation over righteousness. He's my son, and those were somebody's daughters, including me. Willow walked past her. Your son is a predator because you taught him he was untouchable. Well, he touched the wrong girl this time. Patricia Mitchell stood alone in the parking lot as Willow drove away. The empire built on silence and money had fallen to a shy girl with a recording app and an unbreakable will. A year later, Willow stood before the Northwood High student body as valedictorian. Her speech was simple. Power isn't about strength or money or connections. It's about truth. It's about standing up when everyone tells you to sit down. It's about recording the unrecordable and speaking the unspeakable. To anyone out there facing your own Dakota Mitchell, document everything. Tell everyone, never stop fighting. Because silence is what they count on, and your voice is what they fear most. She graduated to thunderous applause and went on to law school, specializing in victim advocacy. Madison became a journalist. Harper founded a nonprofit supporting assault survivors. Brooklyn became a documentary filmmaker. Her first film, winning an Emmy for its portrayal of the Northwood scandal, and in schools across the country, predators learned a new fear. The fear that their next target might be recording, might be gathering evidence, might be the next Willow Hayes. Because sometimes, all it takes to change the world is one person who refuses to be silenced. One person who turns trauma into triumph. One person who proves that shy doesn't mean weak. It means they never see you coming.